This is Movies, a podcast about the act of cinema. And with me today, he's a lady of the night. It is Hans.
Hello, it's me, the lady of Frankenhooker. What's up? What's the brutal? Oh, never mind. The Brutalist Show.
The Brutalist Show on TNT. We Know Drama, starring Noah Wiley.
I hope that leaks soon, because I don't even know when I'm gonna be able to see it here. If I want to go to the theater to see it, I'm sure they'll show it just like they did Nosferatu. But
that was the last movie from 2024 that I watched in preparation for this very special episode where we are going to be giving our best films of the year. And you are wearing your number one, I've noticed.
Yes. A little ill-fitting Mass State Lottery. A little big, but it's very comfortable. I'm looking at the calendar for my...
So pause you right there. People want their own Mass State Lottery crew neck. Head on over to lowres.org. We do have those for sale in the shop. You can get one of those, a Wonder Bread hoodie. And we're also, as of today, selling an audiobook of Max Thrax's debut novel, God is a Killer, which is also read by Max Thrax. And I produced that. That is the first Forgotten Genres audiobooks production. Head on over there right now, and you can pick up yours today. We also have the Throwback Comfort Systems hoodie, winter edition. It is quite nice. How about that? So there you have it. And then we are going to be releasing Civic TV 2025, as I like to call it, even though it features a very 2022 Hans in it.
God.
Oh, the audio that I listened to, combing over this, editing it, making sure it sounded reasonable to people. You're going to be mortified. I was certainly mortified. I'll say that.
I mean,
not with you, but with everything. I mean, with you definitely as well. But honestly, it's all over the map.
I'm not going to listen to it because I can only imagine. I don't remember half of those, so...
better left that way, maybe.
Yeah,
we got 5
probably.
episodes of Civic TV 2025. Unfortunately, some of the video is missing. The video for your worst episode, conduct-wise, is nowhere to be found, but we have the audio,
Right.
And frankly, the audio is enough. It paints enough of a story, I would say. And it features
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it features some of the most interesting and memorable moments in the history of this show.
It was what, in the middle of the pandemic, right? I think it was in the middle of COVID when we started doing that, if I'm not mistaken.
That was
Or was it
original
early?
Civic TV. This was after we were done shooting Mass State Lottery. Back in November 2021, you, myself, and Jerry got together and were like, well, we just bring this back and just do it non-live.
yeah.
So that way the
So-
schedules don't conflict and Hans isn't exhausted first thing in the morning.
Yeah. So I don't have an excuse, I guess is what you're saying. Yeah.
Well, we had episodes where you got a little carried away with the bottle, and you can hear a lot of bodily expulsion that occurs on one particular episode. Multiple orifices from Dearest Hans.
Yeah.
You look so
Yeah,
uncomfortable
so-
right now. Well, listen, it's paywalled,
It's fine.
first of
It's
all.
all right.
It's
Yeah.
hilarious. That's the other thing I'll say is it is downright funny. And I was like, damn, why aren't we still this funny? This is funny as fuck. Oh my God. This is so good. I listened to that. I've edited that. I listened to our episode on fan films where we did the Green Goblin's Last Stand, which is a very impressive fan film from the early 90s, shot on video cassette. And the guy is doing a Spider-Man performance, and he's actually jumping from buildings with like a rope. It was crazy. It's crazy what this dude was thinking in shooting that. Really impressive stuff. And it's the kind of thing we need today in movies. You take a look at the top 10 of this year, and what's there to be found in terms of actual stunts and performances? It's very few and far between, I would say. I mean, we'll dig into our list very shortly. But I think for just discussing the year in film, it might be good to talk about what your opinion on the year 2024 was for releases.
Looking at my list, I didn't see enough 2024 movies. I think I have like 13, maybe 20.
That's not
Um,
bad. That's not
I
my
mean,
numbers. I certainly have
no.
over 100 movies from 2024 that I watched, but for you, that's definitely not the worst.
Well, that's the thing. I have 32 from 2024, and I have 74 from older than 2024.
Okay.
It's usually like that. Last year it was 38 2023 movies and 50 older movies. So I guess it's always kind of like that. Um, I think it's very forgettable year for movies. Uh, I don't know if out of like my top five, which is the ones that I'm going to talk about the most, there's any of them there that I would rewatch many times. So I guess that's my measuring stick. Yeah, there's not many 2024 movies that I can think in like a couple of years. I'll be like, hey, let's throw this on, you know?
Hmm. Now, it is technically a 2025 film, but Mass State Lottery, I don't know if you heard, is the number two movie of the year for both One Simeon Jimmy and Egg White, according to the Is
Mhm.
It Kino podcast, beaten only by Flow for Simeon Jimmy and Megalopolis, the true master of the craft, Francis Ford Coppola, edging us out for Eggy.
Did you
They
listen
gave
to
they
the
gave it.
whole?
Yeah, I listened to the whole thing. Did you?
Yeah. Do you want to dispel a couple of things that they said or
Not really.
confirm?
No, I
Uh,
feel like it's best left however they want to watch and interpret the movie. That's okay. I'm not bothered at all by that, but I did see that the actor Nicholas Joroff ran to the comment section to say, "Actually, no, I shaved my head. I really did shave my head. My head's
yeah.
just that lumpy." That's the funniest thing actually about the Is It Kino review of Mass State Lottery is Eggy's like, his head seems a little lumpy, so I think it might be a bald. And oh no, he shaved his head twice.
These eyebrows.
Yeah, yes, I have a video of it. Why don't I just play it right now? As a matter of fact, it's quite the time hanging out in a tiny home in Queens, New York, with this man Nicholas Joroff who does not want to shave his head even a little bit and has to for the second time for the cinema. You know what? I'm not finding the video right now, but that's okay. Maybe we'll just feature that on patreon.com/lowres in the $5 section where you can get exclusive video episodes like this one for subscribing. So
So
do that.
there's a comment here that says, "How much do I have to pay Loris to get a screener?" It says, "I have a letterbox and I'm a member of the press. Would you like to
Oh, you're a
announce if
member of the
there's?"
what is his credential?
Oh, it's at John77 Amen.
Yeah, that's the type of crowd we want to bring in. Mass State Lottery is a Christian film. That's one thing they didn't talk about on Is It Kino is it is a heavily Christian film.
Yeah, it's a Christmas movie.
Yeah, it takes place during Christmas. I think what we wound up doing by filmmaking is creating a trend of double holiday movies. Mass State Lottery is Christmas and New Year's Eve. And then the one we just shot that you're starring in is Halloween and Election Day. So the next one has to be Easter and
We'll make the
Martin
best of
Luther
it.
King Day.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a Gay Pride Month and Black History Month. You're gonna put
No,
those
we got to drop
together.
the gay with the third movie, finally. It's inescapable. I just have to not cast you, it seems like.
Yeah, apparently. Well, what else is a celebration that lasts a whole month if it's not Black History and gays?
Oh, that's all going away, don't you know? Trump's in office in 8 days. The Pride Month, Black Month, Gay Month, Asian Month, China Month, India Month, that's all going away. We're going back to regular months.
India has a month?
I'm sure they do. I've also been looking into screening inquiries for showing the movie on my own so we don't have to rely on a company or any partners. And, there's been a lot of, tug of wars that have been happening in terms of, all right, well, let's get a reasonable price on this thing. I mean, places that you would think are expensive are not that expensive. And then places where you would think that's not going to be expensive are much more expensive. So it's interesting. You know, New York, you would assume it would cost more money, but Boston is actually pricier when things add up in terms of time and resources and what is going on. It's you know, it's been difficult. So maybe we'll have a, you know, very righteous person who wants to step in and be a benefactor to us, which we're more than open to. And hit me up at jk at forgottengenres.com if you're interested in doing something with Mass State Lottery, showing it at any of your theaters or whatever it may be. Because, you know, I have to throw that out there because people have hit me up over DMs and been like, hey, do you want to come to Delaware and show it at this theater? And typically I would be like, no, I don't want to go to Delaware ever. I'm perfectly fine never going to look, maybe I go to Delaware and I love Delaware. I'm like, wow, I've always meant to be here. I'm my
Yeah,
happiest here.
move there.
But
Yeah.
all that to say, without proposing that, putting that in the ether, people don't think that they can hit you up. So it's good to emphasize that. We are totally open to any type of screening forum or what have you for 2025 when it comes to Mass State Lottery. I'd like to get this in front of as many eyes as possible and not have to rely on self distribution. Hopefully, that won't be the case. We'll be hearing from film festivals whether they want to take it or not over the next couple of months. And then that'll be open to the public. People can just go and show up, and I don't have to pay a goddamn thing. That would be the most beautiful situation. But we'll find out. We'll see.
Yeah, I agree. I'm down. I kind of want to see it in the theater as much as I've seen it so many times. Um, just good news. Queer is going to be leaking next on YTS, so in case you want to cover that. I
Sure.
don't
I just noticed I was on Amazon Prime. It's not one I would probably go back to, I would have to say.
not one that I would go to begin with. Oh, I wanted to show you the schedule for my local theater. Because I'm actually, I mean, I don't know. The Brutalist already debuted over there, right?
Yeah, The Brutalist premiered at the end of December, according to DC. Because I want to book him for for the Brutalist show. They will not even have access to that until January 27th. So it's going to
Okay.
be a
Yeah,
while.
because I think this one here, it's yeah, February 6th is when they're gonna be showing that here.
Okay.
So I guess we'll have time then.
We're
But
going to have to
geez,
push back that show about a week, I guess.
7 in the theater, that's pretty cool.
But you can see Ein Klein Stuck Kitchen.
What's that?
That's an Iranian film, speaking of DC.
He's- I thought he was he's something. I don't
He's
know.
Iranian. Mickey 17, that's going to be a big old flop.
What is this?
I can't wait
Monkey.
to bash that. The Monkey. That's the new Osgood Perkins movie based on a Stephen
Oh,
King book.
oh. Is that the guy that did
Long legs.
uh yeah, Boo.
Boo indeed.
Emilia Perez. Emilia Perez should be good to see in the theater.
Yeah, let's keep the trans trend going. All these
I'm
fucking
so
movies.
goddamn. That's the one from this year, I guess. Well, no, that one in Conclave, that are just winning awards just because I mean I'm not gonna see Emilia Perez ever, but from what I've seen, it really just feels like they grabbed the worst parts of Lin-Manuel Miranda, which is pretty much everything, and just made it into Latina trans. But the funniest part is that it's typical Hollywood representation, right? Where they get people like Selena Gomez because she has a Spanish name, but she can't speak English. So she's singing with like the worst accent in the world, and she's supposed to be Mexican in it, but she sounds like a California girl trying to speak Spanish. So then it's just like,
Mm,
so I don't know if you've seen the reaction on the internet, but Latin Americans are not happy because because the complaint, of course, is a movie made by a French guy, in set in Mexico with no Mexican actors, with American actors playing Mexican. So it's like the representation that they think they're putting out there is not really representation because instead of getting actual Mexicans, they just get brown people. And it's like, that's good enough, right? Hey, Mexicans, come enjoy this movie where there's brown people like you. And I think people are waking up because from what I can remember, one that really kind of bothered me was that the Namor from that Aquaman movie or the Black Panther movie
Well,
because
wasn't
they
he was like Aztec or
yeah,
something?
they made him like a Mexican Aztec warrior, and Mexicans ate that shit up because they love Marvel, right? And they were like, "Fuck yeah, we finally have a Mexican superhero that's not El Dorado, which was one from from the Super Friends, where his superpower was he disappears, and that was it. So he could like jump the border and like disappear and appear on the other side.
The James
Uh,
Gunn El Dorado movie with Dorito tie-ins is just waiting to be
yeah.
uncovered.
So that one's funny because it just shows how out of touch the Academy still is when it comes to, well, we need a movie that represents a minority, and it's like this is not really representing anyone. But yeah, that one looks funny in a this would be fun to make fun of for like the first 15 minutes, and then it would just get exhausting and would not be fun anymore.
Maybe Civic TV 2025, Amelia Perez on Netflix.
Once we're able to show it, maybe
We're never going to be
just
able to show it.
Patreon.
That's why
Patreon
it's all
exclusive.
paywall. Do you think we're going to be able to show
Fair.
War Hunt, the beautiful Mickey Rourke World War II movie from 2022 with fairies in the forest, which was
Oh,
actually kind of a good movie
I have zero
to
recollection
everyone's
of that movie.
surprise. That's all right. It's good. No, you drank away Civic TV season 3. And
I
that's
rem
for the best. Sometimes that is for the best.
I remember the jail movie, the jail Mickey Rourke movie. That was
That's the
good.
best one by
That's
far.
the
That's maybe the best Mickey Rourke movie there is. Nightwalk.
yeah,
I've been
Nightwalk. That
looking
was
for like
nice.
they made digibook, like quality digibook Blu-rays of Nightwalk for Germany because they don't know what's bad acting and what's not bad acting when it's from an English voice. And
Yeah.
I want it so bad, but it's not even I would have to get a region-free Blu-ray player just to own that. But anyway, Nightwalk, that is a great B movie about Sean Stone, who's now kind of a celebrity. He wasn't at the time, he was just Oliver Stone's son. But now you see Sean Stone on Tucker Carlson, you see him on Russell Brand. He's become one of these right wing influencers because he did a documentary, I guess, with maybe his father helped him with it. I don't know, about some sort of conspiracy.
Well, wasn't he like a guru too? And like he did that whole thing where the spiritual uh Russell Brand thing. It's so easy what it takes to just be a right-wing influencer now. To just like get boomers to follow you. It's just, hey, wasn't Fauci evil? Ah, and that's it. And then
Yeah.
you're in. Here you
I
go,
can't I
million
can't wait for
followers.
the Neil Gaiman right wing trajectory now that his
Oh
article.
yeah.
I mean, first of all, this just came out yesterday, I think, in the New Yorker, and I thought we were past these giant Me Too pieces. I'm guilty. I read an archive.org upload of it, so I didn't really contribute. I checked out the non paywall version of that. And it's about how he groomed an adult lesbian into being sexually whatever by him many times over. And it's like, but then you chose to live with him and his family, and then you kept doing it, and you texted him, "Oh, I can't stop thinking about you." It's like, all right, so are we going to treat women as children now? Is this where this is leading to? Because it kind of seems like this is where things are leading to, is we're acknowledging that women don't have the same cognitive
Agency.
functions
Yeah.
as men, and they need to be coddled and they need to be babied. And whenever they say one thing, they actually mean another thing. And the whole argument of no means no, but then you said yes, and yes means no as well. So what are you actually saying? Do you have communication issues? Is that the problem, or did you remember the whole situation as something different when you got pissed off or sad one day? Or did you have
When
all these other fucking women in your ear saying, "No, you got abused, wah, 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 wah." But here's the thing with a guy like Neil Gaiman. I don't fucking care at all about that dude. He can go fall off a building head first, and I wouldn't cry. I wouldn't think about that man ever. I've never liked any single thing he's ever done. I liked the visuals of Sandman because of the comic book artist, but you go and you watch the Netflix show and it sucks. I
This
hate any guy
piece
who
of
delves
shit.
into fantasy. Any guy who delves into fantasy wants to finger fuck your asshole as a rule, male or
Isn't this
female.
isn't this Nick Goroff's favorite artist? Did he tell us a story
I think he
where
had a Neil Gaiman tattoo or something.
yeah,
He was like, I was
yeah,
thinking about
yeah,
getting it
yeah.
removed after the allegations came out. And it's like,
Yeah, we were in an Uber, I think, and then he started telling us about like how his interaction with him and how, but this is all just like dork with power shit. You know what I mean? Like it's like
the
I want
cover,
you, I want you
the
to call me master.
yeah,
Shut the
yeah, yeah.
fuck
You
up,
got
you
to it before I
dork.
could.
It's
The
so-
quote
it's
on the
just-
cover says, "Call me master," and it's 68-year-old Neil Gaiman looking like the Cure with his gay fucking
Robert
hair,
Smith.
gay
Yeah.
man hair. Um,
Yeah, and it's like okay, like I don't know.
it's all
It's
horny jerk shit. It's I'm gonna fuck your tits. Oh, my wife is bisexual, and she said I couldn't have you, so I'm gonna try and fuck your ass. And hey, my son's on the phone. Can you just shut up while I fuck you when I talk to my son or whatever the hell he was doing? He did some sick shit, sure, but not like he's not fucking Jimmy Seville. I think one thing was
no.
like his kid was on an iPad in the other room while he was fucking the lesbian. I don't know what's going. I didn't fully read the piece to be. I jumped around. It was long. It was really long. And then you look at the author. The author also took down Joss Whedon, and his shit was kind of tame. But I hate Joss Whedon too. So it's like,
Yeah, so that's
fuck
fine.
you. You picked a line in the sand. Go down. Fucking go die. Okay, get in the coffin. You're done. Sorry. You identified yourself as this guy, and you were never this guy. Same thing with Neil Gaiman. That's that. You know, I wish I had the passion to fight for somebody more like. I know, actually, I'm glad it's not somebody who's more likable being taken down. You live by the sword,
Well,
you die by the sword.
it's always the same type of guy too, right? It's always the same, well, I'm an artist and I tutor young women because I'm a great writer. Yes, I can tutor you privately because you like my books, right? And it's like, would you really expect him to teach you how to fucking write, you retard? Like, what do you think that is? He's a dork. He's a fantasy dork, and you're gonna give him a little bit of power. It always goes this way. Every time you have like an awkward, uncomfortable dork, like I'm sure he was, with
Hmm.
like that same like oh a mysterious style type of thing, it always ends like this. So
Of
it's like
course.
it's yeah, well, I guess another. What is he doing anyway? Like what can it take from him right now?
This seems to always happen with writers. It is the most recurring trend with writers specifically that you have the sensitive, feminine guy who takes advantage, or they say he takes advantage. He's really just using his status to fuck
Yeah,
other women, and then
because he can't otherwise.
the women
Because he
get
can't
put
get
off.
anything.
Hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
The
Yeah.
women get put off when they realize, oh, I was just a hole. I can't believe I allowed myself to do that. I guess I must have been abused. Nah, that's not really how that works. I mean, I only feel bad in this situation for Neil Gaiman's kid. If Neil Gaiman's kid was in proximity to what was happening and he even called the woman slave at one point, that's
Yes.
fucking weird and gross. And Neil Gaiman should suffer serious consequence just for that. But for whatever he did or didn't do to this woman, I could give a fucking shit. I don't care at all. I look at her the
Yeah.
exact same I look at him. Disgusting.
Yeah.
So
She said, how do you groom an adult? Do
you
you have
don't.
no do you have no agency? Do you have no anything?
Y-
Just
You
this
don't.
powerful perfect. I'm powerless because I'm a fan of this person, so they can tell me
There,
to
there's a
kill
very
my
telling
mother.
line in the piece too, where she's like, "Well, she bounced around family to family looking for a place to stay and found that most people are abusers." It's like, no, most people aren't abusers. Maybe you're just a sick
Yeah.
fucking bitch. Maybe
Yeah.
you're a disgusting bitch, and you were up to things that conflicted with your identity of yourself, which was lesbian, and you did that, and you couldn't handle that shift. And so you had people, and it also just happened to be a situation where you were being used, which guess what? That's fair game. There's no law that says you can't use people. Okay?
Hmm.
You have to be mentally in tune enough to recognize when that's happening instead of being a perpetual victim. But
Yeah.
somebody like this gets off on being a perpetual victim. That is their actual identity is, oh, I've been wronged, and I've been wronged by everybody. Everybody turns out to be dark, and it's not me who's fucked up and drawn to these dark people. It's the world that's dark, and I've just suffered from it. Grow the fuck up.
I mean, I couldn't put it
Anyway,
better
my number
myself.
10 movie of the year is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Speaking of,
everything
actually,
you
no.
said.
This kicks off my least favorite movie of the year, which is Me and My Victim by Billy Pedlow in Moraine, which was a documentary done by a rape victim and a rapist, talking about how he sexually assaulted her, but they were in love and this and that, and they detail that. And it's the most annoying, frustrating, disgusting film of the year. The rapist from the movie actually reposted my Letterboxd review on his Instagram. So
Oh, nice.
thanks, rapist.
What is the movie called?
Thanks for the coverage, rapist. It's called. It's. I don't even want to name the title of the movie again to give these guys promotion. Next one, the remake, the Netflix remake of The Wages of Fear. What a pointless movie! And just like the See No Evil remake that came out this year, completely disregards the source material to go do something different. Terrible movie.
What did it look like that? It
It
just
was
looks
fr-
like a
it
cheap
was it was it was really
Russian.
cheap. It was bad. It sucked. Somebody just bought The Wages of Fear and then made a version for Netflix. Horrible. Drive Away Dolls. Another horrible movie. That was the other
Yep.
Cohen brother with his bisexual wife. Another writer with a bisexual wife. Would you want a bisexual wife?
I'm all right. I think I'm okay. No,
Seems
I think
very.
the track record is a little iffy
Mhm.
there.
Yeah, I don't know. That sounds like it could be trouble. I'd be concerned at all times. I'd be sleeping with one eye open with a bisexual wife next to me. Kim's Video. I just didn't like this movie. Abigail, another movie I thought was really stupid. And people seem Red Letter Media liked Abigail, I think. And those guys just get dumber and dumber each year. Mind Wash. I knew some people who worked on this movie. Sorry, it's a bad movie. The First Omen. Forgettable. Heretic. Annoying. Late Night with the Devil. Really annoying. Will and Harper. Groundbreaking. Caddo Lake. I fell asleep in the middle of that. Unfrosted, the Jerry Seinfeld movie. Did you ever see Unfrosted?
No. No, right. Why?
It's
It's all right.
I'll
It's
give him
fine.
credit for trying to do a comedy, something that resembles a comedy in 2024. That's rare.
Did In a Violent Nature make your list?
I didn't see it.
Okay. What about Frogman?
Frogman's coming up, so this is the
Oh,
worst
okay.
right now.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah,
reading
yeah.
all the movies. I probably won't do the whole thing unless I'm really quick. Hundreds of Beavers. I just watched this recently, and I can admire why they like what they did here, but it wasn't my cup of tea at all. I couldn't. Maybe if I was sitting in a theater, but honestly, it felt very 2002 Newgrounds or something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
we tried at the production house on the last shoot, and I think we made it maybe 20 minutes in, and we're
That's
both
right, we
kind of
did.
like,
Wow.
we're both kind of like, let's just go back to northern
Yeah,
uh
it just kind of felt like
exposure.
somebody did their YouTube project as a 1 hour and 48-minute film, and then it got put into theaters, and people said, "Hey, this is a lot like This is a lot like Charlie Chaplin," and maybe it is. But I don't know. I didn't think so,
Hmm.
but good for that guy for putting so much effort into that thing. Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. No opinion. Frogman. We did a whole episode on Frogman. You guys are welcome to listen to. It's
It sucks.
your favorite from the. Oh, I
It's
thought it was number three.
it
Damn.
stinks.
Monkey Man, India.
Oh, oh, I thought you were talking about the Robbie Williams movie.
No, no. We were potentially going to have a guest on tonight, the cinematologist Jacob A. Miller, to give his picks because he's the only other guy I know who's watched so much at the theater this year. And his takes are always very questionable. So it would be good bantering over that. But no, he
Isn't
went to
it?
go see Better Man, and I advised against it. But
Isn't it funny that, of course, it takes England to spend over $100 million on a movie that's a autobiographical movie about a guy that sucks ass? It's just a guy that sucks who makes like pop music. I don't even think that anyone knows who he is in the States.
no,
We know him here because there was a song called Rock DJ from like the early 2000s. And the only reason why we know it is because, well, the song is very catchy, but also in the video, it's him stripping in the video. But then once he takes off his clothes, he starts removing his muscles and then he ends up being like a skeleton, which for the time was like, oh, that's a really cool video.
yeah, sounds cool.
Outside of that, he's a nothing. So it's just in England, he's huge. Just like a lot of other random people that should not be getting a $100 million movie made about them. There's so especially a CGI starring a monkey or whatever the fuck this is. I don't even know what the movie is. I just know that a biographical movie about Robbie Williams. Who gives a shit?
I
A
just
hundred
find the
million?
concept
What?
of it so insulting that it's like we had this genre that was popular 10 years ago before we ruined the audience's taste buds with superhero films. Maybe we do that again, but we get people to show up by putting a monkey instead of the guy. Maybe a monkey will draw people to the theater. Well, no, it did
Yeah.
the opposite. I was getting angry watching that trailer, watching the monkey in the bathtub and the grandma's like, actually, you're just perfect as you are. And then they have the sweet music pouring in. I was just, fuck this. I
I don't
wanted
even.
to tear a hole in the theater screen.
I haven't even looked at the trailer for that. It's just like, what's the 100 million for England, especially for a British production? That's so much money. They never do that. And this is your epic. This is the one you choose to put 100 million on. All right, well, here's your
Amazing.
10. Here's your 10 million that it
Yes.
made. Here you go. Hey,
Well,
Jesus.
they took a big swing. It didn't pay off. Such is life. Next up for me is The Prodigy, which is a kind of strange thriller movie by a filmmaker I know. MASH, documentary for Hulu. That was fine. Immaculate, fine. Kind of forgettable.
Yeah.
See No Evil. Really didn't like this, but I thought it was well made enough. The 4:30 movie. Mm. No, we did an episode on that, and people really got hung up on Ryan Jackson saying, "You know what I'm saying," or "You know what
Yeah.
I mean." I see people fucking the Hispanic, the
Yeah.
Hispanic man who said, "You know what I mean." It's like, well, don't worry, we won't have any more Hispanics on the show. Hans has met our
Yeah.
Hispanic cap, so don't worry. We'll have Ryan back to discuss Pusher later in the month. Nicholas Winding Refn just did a 4K remaster of the Pusher trilogy that's available now on NWR.com, and I am very excited to give that a watch. The next film, Money Electric, which was about Bitcoin, and they thought they found out who created Bitcoin, and it clearly was not the guy. The dude was just kind of, I don't know. The guy who created Bitcoin is probably Eastern European or Asian. The fact that his name is Satoshi Nakamoto makes me think he's a white guy weeb, but not an American white guy weeb. And that's who they got for this documentary who they thought did it. No. Twisters, that was a pile of shit. Conclave, People's Joker. Again, like Hundreds of Beavers, I understand and appreciate all the effort that went into it. And this one amused me a bit more than Hundreds of Beavers did, but it took me a year to watch this movie. I stopped the movie. I couldn't. It was like pulling a tooth out watching this thing. Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul. That was a cute little movie. The Crow remake, stupid. Civil War, stupid. Nutcrackers,
Wait.
yeah.
Hold on. Wallace and Gromit is not an animation masterpiece? Are you
It's
saying that
fine.
this?
I don't hate Wallace and Gromit or
I don't
anything.
hate
It's
them.
fine.
I don't hate them. Those movies. I just feel like every time one of those movies come out, everyone in England is like, "Oh my Jesus, this is how you make animation." It's like it's like a sweet movie. Like that's what you get,
Yeah,
like a sweet whatever story. That's what you always
it's
get.
like a kid's
Sure,
cartoon.
yeah,
That's
I
it.
like claymation, but it's
Hmm.
like with Paddington, right? It's like Paddington 100% in Rotten Tomatoes or whatever. And it's like it's fine, but
Yeah.
the fact that it's like seen as like this should be winning Oscars movie is like you guys should make more movies
Yeah,
because
let's
what
calm
the fuck?
down. Yeah, time to sit down and watch Kramer versus Kramer if your top movie of the year is Paddington 2.
Well, now Paddington is going to Peru. Do you know that?
I saw the poster to that actually. Yes, when I went to go see The Brutalist. It's like, "Oh wow, okay, prestige." Nutcrackers, the David Gordon Green movie. It was all right. It was fine. It was a Hulu movie. Bratz, the documentary on the Brat Pack, that was fine. Reagan, classic. Rebel Ridge. People really sucked Rebel Ridge's dick when it came out, but this was another stupid movie, I thought. Don Johnson's always good. The lead guy, I think his name is Aaron Pierre. I
Yep.
might have that wrong.
No,
No,
you're
Aaron
right.
Pierre's right. He's good too. That guy's going to be a star. But the movie, and Jeremy Saulnier makes great movies, but this was not it. This didn't do it for me. Wolves, the George Clooney, Brad Pitt movie, stupid movie. That was a paycheck for both those guys. I started watching the ER ripoff show, The Pit. That's actually pretty good on HBO Max, 2 episodes. But I'm seeing 2020 to 2023 trickle in the dialogue, and it's making
Sneaking.
me worried. It's making me a little. Don't get too invested. This is gonna suck soon.
Yeah. When was it shot?
I think it was shot probably around that, I think
Around.
2022, 2023. I don't know. Trap. A lot of stupid movies this year. Ricky Stenicki. I enjoyed that more than Trap. The New Year That Never Came. That was fine but boring. Blackout, the Larry Fessenden werewolf movie. Wolfman comes out in a week. Do you have any interest in
Oh yeah.
Wolfman? I read a spoiler synopsis of Wolfman and what the deal is with that movie because I watched the trailer. I was like, "Where's the Wolfman?" And then you see the Universal Movie Legends amusement park ride, and they're like, "Oh, it's the Wolfman," but it's actually, I mean, honestly, it looks like Larry Fessenden. It's just some a guy with an enormous head and fucking strands of hair, and they're overthinking these creatures. It's like you had it right the first time. Just stick. I mean, the Benicio one looks great.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that looks. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah,
horrible.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
horrible. I did see a leaked photo from the movie of the Wolfman, and it looks significantly better than that. But it's still like, what are you doing? They're doing like a 28 Days Later thing with the Wolfman movie, where it's like, oh, he's not actually turning into a dog, but he come down with the virus, and the virus is doing. Come on,
So
just give
he's
us
not
a
turning.
fucking werewolf movie.
He's not turning into a dog. What is he turning into? One of those Mexicans that have hair all over their face. You know
Yeah,
what I
like a
mean?
Turkish fucking mutant child.
Yeah, yeah, that disease where they just have hair everywhere on their face and the rest of the body they don't. No, I think Lee Whannell sucks and I hated that Invisible Man movie, so I have a zero. I'll watch it just to make fun of it because I'm sure it's gonna be a piece of shit, just like that Invisible Man was.
Hmm.
I'm surprised that Universal hasn't just restarted this whole thing. Like are they're going forward
Again.
with this. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Well,
After
Invisible Man turned a profit in spite of it being released in 2020 during COVID, and it was critically well received, whether we think it was a good movie or not. And spoilers, we didn't think it was. So
no.
they were like, all right. But I mean, honestly, where this movie started and now where it is very sad. We almost had a Derek Cianfrance directed, Ryan Gosling starring Wolfman movie, and that turned into this.
Yeah, instead you have Lee Whannell doing Blumhouse.
Yep. Derek Cianfrance directed Blue Valentine, Place Beyond the Pines. I know this much is great, very accomplished director, one of the best American directors there is. Ryan Gosling, those two are peas in a pod. It would have been something really interesting, I think. And now we're getting the overthought generic horror
Yeah.
crap. It's crap. Anyway,
Oh,
Bike Riders.
also
Yes.
his movies always look like like what Netflix movies look like, where they just put like a blue filter on top of it, or blue or green filter on top of it. And by looking at the poster, even the poster has that. Do you see the poster with the little girl? The little girl, let me show you.
All right, we're taking a look at the Wolfman poster, patreon.com/lowres, if you would like to join us and watch the video version of this episode.
Like even this poster already tells you, oh, that's the greenish blue hue that all these movies have. And then this one
Yes.
also is like, oh, cool, it's gonna be green and bluish, just like the Invisible Man was. Which I guess fine if you're trying to keep the same look of it for the extended universe or whatever the fuck, but that's gonna suck because I hate that. I hate that look. It,
Sure.
it gives it it gives it a very artificial, very digital look, where it's just very distracting for me. That I had a huge issue with Invisible Man with that, but I feel like for that movie, it might fit a little bit better because it's dealing with it in a more futuristic way with the suit and like these mansions and everything. So maybe that would fit that looks fits that a little better.
Hmm.
From what I can see here, this is more of like a. I mean, I don't even know.
That's
I don't
that's
even.
so crazy. That's
I don't
supposed
even
to be
know
a
what is
wolf man? Oh my god.
like. I don't even know what it's supposed. I don't even know if it's doing like the oldie time thing or
Oh.
is it like modern day, but we're gonna have this or we're gonna have.
I
I,
heard it's so what I've heard from somebody who has seen the movie and from a detailed spoiler analysis, that's what you're getting in the movie. That's the Wolfman. It's not like a partial transformation. It's that. There's a Wolfman that exists, and then the lead character is going to be. No, you don't get that.
that's not
Nope.
it. It's just
No, that's Benicio del Toro's Wolfman.
purposely staying away from werewolf conventions and this. Then
Bad
then
idea.
why?
Guess what?
Then
It's not.
why are
It's
you
not
doing
even like a full moon will turn you into the wolf or anything like that. It's just a dude succumbing to some sort of weird alopecia illness that makes him look fucked up like that. Inspired
yeah.
by Heath Ledger's Joker. Come on.
Yeah.
Come
It's
on.
gonna
You're making it too easy here.
suck. It's
This
gonna
is
suck.
this is very I mean, you know who's really going to be disappointed is Detective Wolfman.
Yeah, we definitely need to. I mean, we should make an episode of this because it looks horrendous. Like,
Oh
look at
yeah.
this. This is what I mean by the blue green thing. It's
Yeah,
already.
yeah. I mean, it's overdone for sure. I mean, I don't hate blue green personally. I'm a fan of the aqua when it's used well, but you can see it's
Yeah.
drowning the look of, and it relied on far too heavily. So, Wolfman, it opens this Friday. I was thinking about going. I haven't seen anything about it, and honestly, January
Yeah.
is usually when studios dump movies that they have no faith in. So I haven't seen. I've seen one trailer for Wolfman. I haven't seen any TV spots. This movie, I don't think it's going to be good. I think Christopher Abbott is a great actor, but he's no Ryan Gosling.
This is what our thumbnails should look like for this. It makes me so mad.
Is this after you
So,
trans?
I guess, yeah. Ugh. Anyway, yeah, no, I haven't even seen the trailer, and I don't think they're gonna be playing here anytime soon. So if I get a YTS leak, then I'm down.
Hmm.
We should get Wolfman, who's the expert on this type of thing.
Absolutely. I think that episode is just waiting to happen. So
Yeah.
we'll dig into that. I think for movies this year, it'd be good to start looking at movies we would not typically cover or like really niche films. Because I told you this on an episode or two ago. I was digging back into the archive and I was just looking at past episodes where we would kind of get into these very conventional slumps of covering movies you would probably expect us to cover, like I don't know, Old Boy or something like that. And I think there's definitely room for that. But I do believe it winds up being more interesting if we cover things that are out of our wheelhouse. So maybe for 2025, a goal, a resolution for the show will be to venture beyond whatever we would typically look at as like an easy grab for a topic on the show.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm always discovering new movies on YTS that are just weird or that I've never heard of before. So we can definitely start doing some episodes on
And you know, it's a great open window for that is people signing up for our listener sponsored tier, which they can do over on patreon.com/lowres. For $100, you will essentially act as a producer on this show for one episode and pick a movie for us to discuss. And so we will sit down, we'll watch the film, we'll come back, we'll sit in front of the microphones and give our honest opinions and takes. We do have a couple in the queue since we last spoke. I think I said, "Oh no, January is totally wide open." And people took advantage of that immediately. So we're going to be covering one coming up that it totally slipped by me on the radar. I feel like it would be in my wheelhouse for something to check out. It's from the '90s, and that's going to kick off our listener-sponsored episodes for the month of January. Again, patreon.com/lowres if you have any interest in that. Just to continue on with the list here, and frankly, at this point, I'm thinking maybe we end this episode early and then that's part one and then the top tens themselves, because I'm already looking at the timer and it's like, did we already clock a full episode, or we're really close to doing that? So
Okay.
nice. Okay. The Bike Riders, the Jeff Nichols film. He did Take Shelter with Michael Shannon. He's a good director, but this movie was kind of forgettable. The Beast, which is the movie that was directed by Bertrand Bonello about Elliot Rodger. Dasha, I think, has a cameo somewhere in there. It's all right. It's fine. Rebel Moon Part 2. There was that. Some
I
of the
didn't see
best Netflix had to offer this year. The Greatest Night in Pop. Very solid Netflix documentary about the We Are the World benefit song. The Joanna Arno movie, The Feeling That the Time for Doing Something Has Passed. That was all right. It's kind of Lena Dunham-y. Woman of the
Like it.
Hour, about the game show killer, the dating show killer.
Oh
That
yeah, that
one
was.
actually, I gotta rank that one lower. I don't like that. I feel like they
I
made
don't
up
even
a
have
bunch of
that on my
stuff.
list. I did see it, but I don't think I even put that on my letterbox.
That one, I felt like they embellished so much. Maybe it'll come out that they didn't embellish at all or something. But from my understanding, because I was familiar with that case, her character and the relationship with the killer and all that felt made up for the movie, which is fine. I mean, look, they were talking about it on Is It Kino. Oh, I found out that the movie's based on real disappearances or whatever, and they misphrased it as real murders. Now maybe they are murders. I don't know. Personally, I believe there very well may be murders in there, but they're disappearances and ruled suicide. So I'm guilty of that myself. Anyway,
Yeah.
another hit Netflix movie, Hitman. Stupid. Didn't like it. Why were people
Yes.
really? They talked that movie up, and I think we've complained about this in the past. Not a good go for Richard Linklater. Longlegs. We did 2 episodes on that. You can hear our opinions in the archive. The Instigators, which was the other Boston buddy flick released this year with Casey Affleck wearing a green hoodie, just like he did in Manchester by the Sea. I like this movie, but only because I'm from Boston and Quincy, and they shot everywhere we did. And in fact, if you remember, there was a pizza place we got lunch at for Mass State Lottery round 1 called Nick's that they shot right in front of and maybe even inside for the movie. So they were right in the area we were hanging out for that duration of shooting. And it's kind of cool to see somebody else shoot the same exact places we shot for Mass State Lottery, but then it's another person's hand and it's Apple.
Yeah.
It's an Apple movie. Alien Romulus, we did an episode on that. You're welcome to go and listen. Superman, the Christopher Reeve documentary, that's fine. Salem's Lot, we did an episode with Glenn Rockney. I was listening to, maybe he did a show with Jack, and he was talking about how he did a show that was being broadcast live, and the chat fucked him up during the show. Like it threw him off, and I was like, that was
Oh.
our show. That was our Salem's Lot show. That's exactly the show. So we'll keep it non-live for you, Glenn, for any future appearances. Do you feel like anything changes for you on your end of things when we're doing live versus non-live?
Not really. I think it makes it easier because then you don't have to come up with everything off the top of your head. You can just interact with whatever the audience is saying. But it also depends on the movie, I think, or what we're doing. I don't think every movie is right for that, but I enjoy it.
Yeah, I think we're better live. Actually, I think there's a more energized component, but I don't know if that's something we could do every show because I did listen to the Joker episode a little bit. We did, and it was good, but I don't know. I think too much is going on for the
Yeah,
average listener, and most of the listenership is on Spotify. They're not on. They're certainly not on YouTube.
yeah.
They might not be on Apple at this rate. It's kind of hard to even get statistics from Apple regarding downloads. It's mainly Spotify. But anyway, all that to say, oh, you know what? You just said it's easier to come up with something. Boy, is that true. Because I was listening back to the Mortal Kombat episode we did from 2020 or 2021. And I was like, hold on. I got to get, because I had to go kill a spider in my mom's basement that was huge. And I realized, damn, I should have listened back to this episode because it's you being like, are you there? Hey, are you there? I don't think he's there. Silence for several seconds. Hey, oh no, he's still not back yet.
Well,
Okay.
because what happens there is that I thought that only your like it only records your side when you're not there. So I thought that was not going to be recorded, but I guess it was.
Oh yeah, of course.
Well,
It's two different audio tracks.
yeah, but I
Yeah.
figured because you're wasn't it a connection issue that you had?
No, I had to mute the microphone because there was a massive spider, a fucking
Oh,
tarantula-sized
oh,
spider coming in my direction in my mother's basement where I was recording from during that
right.
episode. And I was like, "Oh no, I am not leaving this alive. I have to kill this immediately." And I think it might have just been like early Zoom, so I didn't know we could pause the
Mm,
call or something, and I just
yeah.
dealt with it. Anyway, you guys can go back and listen to that if you want to hear. But Am I Racist? The Matt Walsh documentary movie, which is Oscar eligible, I guess.
Never
Cool.
saw it.
It's all right.
The
Black
movie.
Eyed Susan. I watched this movie based off a review from Ryan Jackson, and there's some interest. It's kind of low budget. It's very small scale. It's a horror movie. It felt very 90s in a way, and it has some interesting stuff going on there. Didi, otherwise known as Barack Obama's favorite movie of
Oh yeah,
2024, Didi.
yeah.
Uh,
I'm sure he saw that.
Kneecap, that was an Irish IRA Michael Fassbender movie about the rap group. That was okay. It actually got better. The first hour kind of sucked and was cringe, and then it got really better in the last half of it. Saturday Night, the Saturday Night Live biopic, which that should have just went to streaming. Gladiator 2, talked about that a lot without ever doing an episode on it. Aggro Drift, I admire what Harmony Korine did, and honestly, it made me laugh a lot. I didn't like the movie. I didn't think it was good, but it made me laugh a lot. So that's enough. Sometimes that's just enough. La Chimera, that was the other Josh O'Connor movie that came out this year, playing a very different character than Patrick Zweig from Challengers. He's solid in the film. The movie's okay. I did a double feature of this and Riddle of Fire, which tries to do like a Goonies throwback to 1980s kid adventure films, but for adults, and it's okay. It's not bad. It's a little too it's too aware of its attempted trying to be wholesome at times, and I don't like that. The Fall Guy, fun movie. The Contestant, good documentary on the origins maybe of reality television. Maxine, okay. I have a feeling it'll be worse if I ever go back to it. Love Lies Bleeding, yeah. Uh,
That's
Now I
another.
believe
That,
is this? Did
yeah.
I hit my top 25 yet? Let me see. 4, 6, 12, 16, 20, 25, 30. Nah, not quite. Deadpool and Wolverine. Great movie. Red Rooms, that's fine. A Real Pain, sure, enjoyable. Milk and Cereal, the YouTuber no budget vlogger horror movie. Did you ever see Milk and Cereal?
I started, fell asleep, forgot.
You fell asleep and forgot. I think it's a
Yeah.
good. It's a pretty good movie. It's a pretty good slasher movie. Milk and Cereal. Dune Part Two continues to sink. Dune Part Two was like number 11 for me a week ago, and now it's here behind Terrifier 3. Terrifier 3, great Christmas movie. Looked so toasty and warm on the big screen. I love all the shots of Christmas in people's houses and Christmas decorations. I could have just sat and watched that for 90 minutes and I would have been happy. Anora, the new Sean Baker movie we just covered with Simeon Jimmy and Egg White. Queer, the other Luca Guadagnino movie that came out this year. Nosferatu. We just did a whole episode on that it was released yesterday, January 13th. Joker Folie à Deux. There's an episode that exists on that. From Darkness to Light, excuse me. That's a documentary on the day the clown cry, the Jerry Lewis movie that will be released, I think, this year, 2025, finally, after being vaulted for decades. He had a clause in his will that said, okay, you can release the movie after I die by X years or something. You got to wait X amount of years after I die before you release it, which maybe we're in for an interesting clown film that takes place during the Holocaust. I don't know. Do you have any interest in that?
Oh yeah. I want to see if it's a big pile of shit, and that's why it was like so offensive, and that's why it was banned, or if they were just being sensitive, like what's that Disney movie with the animation and the slaves?
Song of the South?
Song of the South, which I think the reaction to it is wholly exaggerated. So
I think
I'm
it's going to
prepared
be
for
that. I think it's going to be the reputation preceding what
Yeah.
is actually in the movie. And Holocaust movies at the time were not common. That's something that they emphasize in the documentary, which is well done. And to handle it in that manner, maybe people just weren't prepared for that at that time, or they were more sensitive to it because the Holocaust, if you're thinking 1970s, the Holocaust only happened 30 years ago, or it ended in the 50s, right? So not even 20 years ago. That's a little touchy, I guess. I mean, maybe it would be like making a 9/11, a sincere. I mean, they made 9/11 movies like a year or two after 9/11.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if there was any sense of American pride these days, I guess it would be like making a 9/11 movie today. Janet Planet, which is a Massachusetts set movie from Annie Baker about a little girl experiencing life with her single mother and her single mother's failures of several relationships that occur in the span of a year. My top 20. We're at the top 20 now. We got through 100 or something movies, I think, here. Skincare, which was a film by Austin Peters starring Elizabeth Banks and Lewis Pullman about a skincare mogul. That was a pretty solid film that was like a better version of you know what? It's not coming to mind at the moment. But there was another movie that was like that I also watched, and I thought this handled itself better. I saw The TV Glow is number 19. That's an underrated surprise from this year from A24 and Jane Schoenbrunn. The aesthetics of that had maybe the most interesting look to be presented on the cinema screen this year. An Indian movie I watched recently that I don't know if I can pronounce the name of, Brahma Yugam.
Brahmagam, I think.
Brahmagam. I honestly think it might be Brahmagam, but it's not spelled the same way as Brahmagam.
have to say with an accent and with a head shake.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe that's what's missing there. That looked good. It was a little long, but it was pretty solid. That is my number 18. Number
They need
17.
they need to hire editors in India, right? I
I
feel like
guess
all those
so.
movies are
They're
like
genuinely unflinching when it comes to putting out a 3 hour movie, and people will show
these
up for it, I guess.
these
So
epics. Every movie is an epic.
every movie's an epic.
You
Good for
just get
them.
50 minutes of dancing.
I think this year more than any other year, I've watched more 3 hour movies, and especially in the theater, more 3 hour movies than any other year. Number 17 for me is www.rachelormont.com, the Peter Vack movie. I'd love to do an episode on this at some point, but there's no way you're going to see it unless it leaks. Because
Yeah.
most people can't even see it unless there's a pop up event in New York, which they've had quite a few of, but not that many.
Well, if the What It Is movie leaked, I'm sure this one could possibly leak. You know,
The Crispin
say
Glover movie,
yeah, yeah. It sounds
what
like
it
it's
is, what it
what did I
do.
say? Yeah, what are you doing?
It is what it is.
Because that one wasn't that also only showed on screenings that he would show.
Yeah, but then there was also a conventional release, I believe, at some point. The third movie,
Uh,
he's been touring it around and showing people, but it hasn't been online, I guess.
that's the one that's impossible to get.
Yeah, I've been trying to find a Gus Van Sant, Harmony Korine movie called Easter that I can't find anywhere. That's some lost media right there. Well, we're down to the last six selections here before we get to the top 10, and then we're going to take a little break. Horizon, an American Saga, the Kevin Costner Western film. I did a solo episode on this for July 4th. You guys are welcome to go back and listen to it. Beetlejuice is next up. That is number 15. I did an episode with Jacob A. Miller, the cinematologist, on this, and he loved the movie. I love the movie. It's a fun movie.
Yeah.
Wasn't as good the second time I watched it. The musical sequence really brought the movie down a bit for me. Did
I
you see it?
I'll talk about it. It's on my
Okay,
list.
all right,
Yeah,
all right.
it's
We'll
on my
save that
it's
for
on my
later.
list. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I think you have a moth, by the way, flying around your camera. I noticed it just before the
Probably.
camera cut back to mine. Yeah, are you catching it with your hand like fucking Mr. Miyagi?
With chopsticks.
Okay. Another Warner Brothers film, Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. They love doing this. An American saga, a Mad Max saga, a Star Wars story, a low res Wonder Bread movie. You know, there's a lot of this going around. Furiosa was a fun time. And, George Miller, he's still got it. I
Yeah, a
might
lot
have liked it
better.
better than Fury Road. I don't know.
Yeah, a lot better than we expected too. Like we were expecting just a CGI mess, and it ended up being a lot more enjoyable. That I guess both of
Absolutely.
us thought. Yeah.
Totally. Kinds of Kindness, the 2024 release from Yorgos Lanthimos. We did an episode on Kinds of Kindness. And for an anthology film, it really succeeded. Snack Shack. Snack Shack was in my top 10 up until yesterday. And then I had to kick it out. That's a good 90s throwback to teen
Yep.
movies of the time. You
We'll
know,
talk about it. I have it
we'll
on my
all right, well, yeah,
list.
we'll get into
Yeah.
Snack Shack.
Yeah.
And to close it out, this also was in my top 10 until a couple of days ago. Asphalt City. I think the original title was Black Flies. It's a Ty Sheridan, Sean Penn movie from director Jean Stéphane Sauvaire about two paramedics in New York City. And a lot of people compared it to Bringing Out the Dead just because it shares that subject matter and the location. But honestly, it's a very different kind of film, and it got a good performance out of the other cop from True Detective, who's the black Native American woman. It proved that she can actually act, and they didn't just throw some fucking nobody in there just to eat up screen time. Asphalt City is gritty, modern New York. It's New York the same way that they would handle New York on film in the late 90s on HBO. And I admire it for that reason. Very good movie, very solid movie. And when you guys hear my number 10, you're going to be like, that was better than Asphalt City or whatever other movie you heard in the list, the roundup here. but that's how it's going to go. And we're going to pick that up on the next episode of Movies. So, Hans, would you like to give a little teaser to what's going to be on your list for the year before we close out this episode?
There was three that you already mentioned there.
Okay.
But then there's a couple of movies from starring the same actor that I think were very impressive. And then one that I don't think you've heard of at all. So
Interesting.
that one. So that should be good.
Well, you
And I
had a
think
year where your list was full of foreign movies I was completely unfamiliar with. So I'm expecting maybe a touch of that this time because there's plenty of films that you get
yeah.
on streaming and everything else that don't come on my radar whatsoever. But we'll see. We'll find out.
Not
Maybe
not
Beetlejuice is a strong number one.
yeah,
You loved
yeah.
Justin Theroux in that movie.
Yeah. It was the way they dealt with the dad issue was great.
Yes, the best actor is
Yeah.
Beetlejuice.
Yes.
The Academy Award for Best Actor goes to Beetlejuice. Okay. All right. Shall we close out part one of the
Yeah.
special on that note? All right. That has been Movies for this week. Thank you for listening.